Have you ever wondered why some animals, despite countless attempts, simply couldn't be domesticated? Throughout history, humans have tried to tame various wild animals, only to abandon these efforts due to the animal's unpredictable nature, aggression, or resistance to captivity. Today, let's dive into some of the most fascinating and failed domestication attempts in history, each with its own story and reason for ultimate abandonment. One of the most famous examples is the zebra, a close relative of the horse. In the late 19th century, British settlers in Africa attempted to domesticate zebras as an alternative to horses, particularly for use in Africa's dangerous terrain, where horses often fell victim to diseases like sleeping sickness. Zebras were naturally resistant to such diseases, but unlike horses, they had a highly unpredictable temperament. Zebras are extremely skittish and can deliver powerful kicks when they feel threatened. After multiple failed attempts, it became clear that their nervous, aggressive behavior made them unsuitable for training or riding, and British settlers abandoned the effort altogether. Moving to another interesting case, we have the gurgidan, or rhino. As early as the 17th century, European colonizers tried to domesticate rhinos for labor and transportation, hoping their strength could rival that of an ox or horse. However, rhinos are notoriously aggressive and highly territorial animals. Their size and unpredictable behavior meant that even trained handlers had difficulty controlling them. The final straw came when handlers repeatedly failed to keep rhinos calm and safe in enclosed spaces. Unlike domesticated animals that are more adaptable, rhinos became dangerously stressed in captivity. After numerous incidents, attempts to tame them were halted due to their threat to human safety. In ancient Egypt, royalty and nobles were captivated by the idea of using big cats like cheetahs for hunting, a practice known as coursing. Cheetahs were partially trained, but unlike domestic dogs, they never truly adapted to captivity. By the time of the Roman Empire, emperors attempted to bring leopards, lions, and tigers into games, and even tried to domesticate them for show purposes. However, their solitary and territorial nature, combined with their immense strength and aggression, made them incredibly hard to control. Big cats in captivity were often prone to sudden outbursts and aggression, putting handlers at high risk. Over time, even Roman emperors gave up on fully taming these big cats, limiting their use strictly to shows and exhibitions. Another challenging case comes from Central Asia, where Mongolian tribes attempted to domesticate the saiga antelope. Nomadic groups thought these animals would be ideal for food and other resources. However, saigas are extremely high-strung, with a flight response that is triggered by the smallest stimuli. In captivity, they experienced significant stress, making them nearly impossible to breed or handle safely. After years of attempts, the saigas were left in the wild as their frantic, nervous nature proved too challenging to work with. Then we have the American bison, a powerful animal that 19th century settlers in North America saw as a potential domesticated food source. Settlers began capturing bison with the hope that they could replace cattle, which were not as well suited to the North American plains. However, bison are incredibly strong, fast, and prone to aggression when confined, making them highly dangerous to manage. They also resisted typical herding techniques, frequently breaking free from enclosures. After decades of failed efforts and multiple injuries to ranchers, bison domestication was abandoned in favor of cattle. In the 1930s, the Soviet Union also launched a unique experiment known as the Belyayev fox experiment to see if they could domesticate foxes for fur production. Russian scientists bred foxes, selecting only the tamest ones to try and achieve a domesticated line. However, even after decades of selective breeding, foxes showed only limited adaptability to humans, retaining much of their wild behavior. This experiment underscored that even with selective breeding, true domestication was a slow and complex process, and efforts to fully domesticate foxes for companionship or production eventually faded. The African buffalo is yet another example. Early African pastoral societies considered domesticating these large animals for plowing and transportation. However, African buffaloes have powerful defensive instincts and are among the most dangerous animals in Africa, known for their unpredictable attacks. Over centuries, pastoral groups abandoned any serious attempts to domesticate buffaloes as they proved to be too aggressive and difficult to control. Even today, African buffaloes are considered one of the least predictable and most dangerous animals in the wild. And finally, the hippopotamus. In ancient Egypt, hippos were occasionally captured and kept as exotic animals for religious and cultural purposes. Yet the Egyptians soon learned that hippos were almost impossible to domesticate. Highly aggressive, they're responsible for more human deaths in Africa than many other large animals. Ancient Egyptian records show that hippos regularly escaped enclosures, causing havoc and endangering nearby communities. Eventually, Egyptians abandoned any idea of using hippos for labor or transportation, choosing instead to revere them as powerful symbols in religious rituals from a safe distance. These stories reveal that domestication is not just about human desire. It requires specific animal traits, like a certain temperament, social structures, and the ability to adapt to captivity. Animals like dogs, horses, and cattle possess these qualities, but species like zebras, rhinos, and buffaloes do not. Even with centuries of effort, some animals simply cannot be tamed. Next time you see a pet, think of the unique journey of domestication that made that animal a companion. While we succeeded with some species, these stories remind us that not all animals are meant to be domesticated, no matter how hard we try. Next time you see a pet, think of the unique journey of domestication that made that animal a companion. While we succeeded with some species, these stories remind us that not all animals are meant to be domesticated, no matter how hard we try. If you enjoyed exploring these fascinating tales of failed domestication, don't forget to like this video. Subscribe for more deep dives into history and nature, and drop a comment below with your favorite animal fact. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.